Got Guillaume, who's the founder of Opteo.
Okay, stop what you're doing. Go deep on this AI stuff.
That level of analysis just supercharges the human.
Really are in the era of like agents living alongside humans.
What's one thing you reckon agencies should stop doing immediately with AI?
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Prompted podcast. Today's a bit of a special episode, you can see. So of course you've got me, Chris and Nick here today, but we've also got Guillaume, who's the founder of Opteo. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man.
How's it going?
It's going well.
You literally just travelled up from London, especially to
Yeah,
here,
fresh off the boat, fresh off the train.
Nice.
Where have you travelled from?
From London.
Oh, just London. Happy days.
Happy days.
Nice. So of course, this episode is really going to be about deep diving into AI within agencies, AI within the Opteo world, all of that good stuff. And then we'll just really go from there. But what's new in our worlds?
I don't think there's much new in our world, barring Performance Manchester at the time, but this is going out, will have been and gone, which is going to be pretty cool to see everybody there. Obviously, we've got an absolute plethora of people there. I know we've got the Opteo guys joining us as well.
They've got. I think there's a whole bunch of donuts because it's the Opteo O.
Nice.
So Shakira was telling me about all these donuts that she's ordered. I've never ordered so many donuts. It's
That's
great.
Incredible. So is it going to be on like the O is literally going to be the donut?
I think so. I think they might be blue donuts. We'll see.
Cool. That'll go down well, especially with the weather tomorrow. We're trying to get the venue incredibly cold, so we're arriving tonight to set up as well. But it'll all be stage and stand set up as well. So hopefully we do a good job for you guys as well.
Let's see.
Nice. At least you know who to remarket to. You just check if they've got blue tongue.
Exactly.
Donuts, right?
The blue tongue tell. I like it.
That is the one. Brilliant. Obviously, big thanks to the Opteo guys for sponsoring this episode and sponsoring the whole series so far. These are the guys that help PPC advertisers maximize performance and minimize waste. And they're doing a hell of a lot in the MCP space at the moment. I've personally been using quite a lot frequently within the Claude and Claude Co-work setups. So I guess we have the main man here today to talk a little bit about that.
Hopefully I can shed some light.
Nice. What are you guys doing within that space at the moment? It's obviously such an evolving space. What's new?
Whoa, that's a big question, man. Yeah, so there's this thing called AI. You might have heard about it. And we've basically leaned entirely in that direction. So we saw this coming, we all started writing some Shakespearean sonnets and whatnot. And then we're like, hold on, this is actually getting quite good. And yeah, I think the writing was kind of on the wall that everything was kind of, a lot of PPC was kind of going to head down that as a primary kind of tool stack. And so we took a big leap, and we had already had like a chat tool, but we've since really made that like the primary focus product side. So there's a lot we can kind of dig into. There's a lot of kind of core ingredients of what goes into that. Maybe we can jump into a few of them.
Yeah. No, that sounds good. I know when I've been using it recently, historically it's been a lot of you go on the UI, you sort of click yes or no, you want something, optimize, don't optimize. And now it's a lot more than you giving the suggestions. It's a lot more about talking to the tech to understand actually what do you want to do.
Yeah.
Because I think we talked about this in the past where when you're talking to Claude and you just say do something, and I know we'll get into this later, like do an audit, it's just going to give you really top level stuff, like what's the spend, what's the conversion.
Have you heard this term, the Claudit? I quite like that term.
Nice.
Not.
Nice. I like that.
That's just like top level, how do I improve my account? And you get a Claudit out.
Yeah, the Claudit.
Yeah.
And that's just a super generic thing, right? I'm guessing just a load of top level nonsense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just very, very plausible nonsense. Yeah.
I have given that a go, I'll admit, and it is pretty bad.
Are you turning into one of the LinkedIn people that's like, hey, we can audit your Google Ads account in 30 seconds using this one prompt? Is that how you're turning?
Yeah. Improve my account, make no mistakes.
Yes, yes. No mechanisms, no M dashes. Yeah, it'll just do its job.
Just give control completely over.
Yeah, madness. We've been talking about this in the last episode, to be fair, like giving control over to the tech. There was probably a number of films that we've sort of identified what could happen. I think it was iRobot.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine, right?
It will be fine.
Apart from the iRobots, Terminators, and what else?
Yeah.
Isn't you say there's an AI film?
Yeah, it's called AI, about an AI boy, which is a fantastic film. It's weird, but it's worth a watch.
Nice.
But yeah, when the next Claude model comes out and it's called Skynet, we all know we need to run.
Yes, because they're already clamping down on the latest versions, aren't they? Because they are just that powerful.
Yeah.
But I guess from the battlefield, from the agencies that you work with, what are they dealing with on a day-to-day in the AI front? What do they want to look at?
It's cool. It's cool, guys. Like there's a really wide range of use cases, from kind of building out it's really cool. Some people are just like literally pasting screenshots of like a client request and being like, help me reply to this client. I personally quite like the really lazy approaches like that.
Yeah.
Just like, here, you deal with this. I've got like, I'm late for my marketing performance review. Like, tell me what's happened in the last 7 days. I'm going on holiday. Like, give me a handover document I can give my colleagues. All the way to the super kind of nerdy, like build me a 3D interactive map of my conversions overlaid on like zip level stuff with filters. Like it's really quite varied, which is super cool. Like some of it is like kind of diagnosis, some of it is client communication. I mean, we've recently released kind of write tool calls or taking action on accounts, so there's a lot of that kind of stuff too. Just like whether it's like budget allocations or budget pacing or RSA testing or negative keywords, like all of your kind of common day-to-day PPC tasks. I think a good place to start, and something that we've seen users do, is they'll literally plug in their to-do list. Like they'll go into like Asana or Monday.com and again just like screenshot it or just be like, here's my weekly piece of work. And you just knock it off the list.
Interesting.
One by one, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I feel that showing people how to use those things is going to be paramount as well. So I know you're saying you've got like people going top level, write me a handover. I would love to see some, you may have this already, like some help documentation to like, here are all the cool things we can do and here are some practical examples as well.
Totally.
I feel it'd be absolutely cool to see, because you probably capture all of this as well internally, and I mean, anonymized, where you'll understand what queries people are asking for when they're speaking to, the chatbots and understanding. And it'd be interesting to get a report almost to see what people are actually asking for, because I feel that it might help marketers in general, because I know that everyone's like, we need to be using AI, but to be transparent, I use AI to do exactly that, of like, I'm doing a handover, or I'm late to a client meeting, and it just helps me feel prepared instead of having to be like, cool, I've now got to wing my way through this meeting because I've got no idea what I'm actually saying. So yeah, I think tools like that are absolutely
so we're actually working on we already have the beginnings of it, but we work on this thing called Prompt Library, which is exactly what you're talking about, which is just like a growing collection of prompts that are kind of in part inspired by the usage that we're seeing.
That's really cool.
And then at the higher level, like our account managers will kind of analyze the kind of organic use of chat and then propose like refinements. Be like, look, you guys are doing a lot of this type of work.
Yeah.
What do you think about something like that? We also released the notion of like team prompts, which is also really powerful, right? Is like sometimes you have a team lead that wants things done a certain way and you want to kind of standardize things. Is like if you have a PPC team of 6 and they're all, one of them's asking last 30 days till yesterday, another one's not taking into account the conversion lag, and you're getting 6 sets of reports that are all slightly different. Like that's been a challenge. So team prompts is interesting.
That's really cool as well. And I think seeing and hearing that you've got the human interaction from your side, where people are actually listening and, helping people with further prompting, and dare I call it prompt engineering, which I'm not sure if I like the phrase, but hey, I'm going to go with it. But it's nice to say you've got the blended approach as well, where, you're like, we're going in on AI, but we're still making sure that there's, human interaction and human analysis behind it as well.
It's super important, right? Like I think one of the weaknesses of the whole AI thing that we're very focused on is this, I guess internally we call it like discoverability, or like, it's just kind of that blank page syndrome of you're like, okay, what do you want to do today? And it's like, all right, I don't know, help me. Like it's, it's not always, as with all these kind of AI things, the more you know what you want and the more precise you are with your instructions, the better the output. But there's a whole sense of like, you have to go out and like fetch the value yourself. It doesn't kind of get pushed to you.
Yeah.
And so, especially if you have like a portfolio of accounts, it can just kind of fall apart a little bit. And so you kind of, that's why, I'm sure we might get into it, but like we kind of write skills with,
Yeah.
we kind of co-author skills with our clients and whatnot, or just kind of help them build up their processes. Because as you say, it's like, it's obviously an incredibly powerful tool, but it's not quite as out of the box as more traditional tooling where you click a button and it does a thing and it's kind of prepackaged. It can do anything.
Yeah.
And that also means, not much if you don't know exactly what you want.
It feels, sorry, Chris, you go.
Sorry, I was going to say, what's the most powerful use case you've seen in it, if you can share it or like just talk around it? What's the most powerful use case of an agency that's used this to do something pretty epic?
I wouldn't say there's been like a revolutionary use case that comes to mind.
Okay.
I'd say like there's a whole set of use cases where it's just like really annoying data problems that you would let fester and that would float to the bottom of your to-do list for 3 weeks, and it's like a broken conversion action. You can't pinpoint this one conversion ID. You can't. It's just like all that stuff that it's just a huge pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Right? And it's going to take 40 minutes of your time, and you just don't want to do it. And now that you can just send off a little minion to get it done.
Yeah.
Like I think those are quite interesting. I think there's also something interesting that's happening with some of our clients that are really getting into this stuff. Like they're really expanding the actual quality of their work. So again, a lot of things that you could have done in the old world, but that you just wouldn't. The juice is just not worth the squeeze. But it is now, because it's not that hard anymore.
Yeah.
And so like the depth, I think, is really impressive.
Yeah.
So I've been seeing a lot of those kind of instances of kind of PPC marketers that are daring do a level of deep work that previously would have just been too uncomfortable or too that juice not being worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
Thing.
There's probably like two elements of doing PPC work in an ad account. I think one is that to-do list, like you say, of literally just activate that campaign or add that keyword in, and the other is more of that strategic side, isn't it? Of like go and think about how to grow an account, go and think about the search term alignment. That's probably one of the biggest things that I think that I use is that alignment between what's on our landing page, what's on the ad copy, and what are people searching for.
Yeah,
for me to go and try and pull that in a Google Ads account manually, or even through anything else, would be a bit of a faff. But I know that's kind of prepackaged really nicely with you guys.
Yeah.
Does that feed into the chat and MCP?
That's coming. That's coming.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So like all of our non-AI features are being ported into the AI verse at the moment.
Okay, nice.
So like all of that kind of pre-processed enriched data gets passed back in as like shorthands and shortcuts and tools for AI to use.
Nice.
And that also pops back into the MCP.
Nice. And MCP at the moment can be used across anything, or is it just on Claude, or like where is?
Oh, it's anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Okay, because we were saying we're into Claude now, aren't we? The evolution has changed so much. We used to be starting on ChatGPT, and then I went on to Gemini, and then we're both kind of on the Claude front now.
Yeah, I feel that Claude is the most native for business use case for me personally.
Yeah.
Especially the work I do, and I can just load a meta geolith package into Claude and run a pre-analysis before I actually want to load up R and then translate that using Python into actual graphs and formats. So it gives me the validation before I even have to load up more, I suppose, heavy programming before I do anything nowadays. And it's massively helped. And I think just hearing you guys being able to connect into it, it's nice to see that you can just use somebody else's native interface and completely package into it, because I think you might be the only guys doing that from what I'm aware of in the the PPC optimization game and the analysis. I don't know of anyone else that's currently doing it.
No, I can't think of anyone.
You mean like the kind of prepackaged data coming back in? Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool, and I think it's a really big distinguishing factor in the market as well.
Yeah,
especially putting the humans behind it as well.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. For a moment there, we had a little wobble, right? We're like, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And then fast forward a few months, and we're like, actually, problem has turned into like the next, set of years ahead of us. Like we're definitely super excited about it. It opens up, like, coming back to your other question, like it opens up just like interesting use cases around that kind of fuzzy matching stuff is really interesting too. Like we just released a really cool, I didn't actually send it to you. Inside of Chat, we've introduced like a bulk classification tool that's built for, again, part of that like feedback loop of seeing kind of PPCers use our platform. Like we've identified a bunch of these really cool kind of classification use cases. So this is like taking search terms and identifying like top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, or brand generic competitor, or search themes, or we had a cool one recently in the e-com space that was looking at like brand level stuff. So like or like product category like fridge freezers, and then like contained a brand like Samsung fridge freezer,
Nice.
and then like contained a part. I mean, you would know this from
Yeah.
from your previous days, but like Samsung fridge freezer BX 3000 plus or whatever.
Yeah.
And like understanding the composition per campaign of that spend and the conversions.
Yeah.
Through like these arbitrary categorizations. Like LLMs are incredible at doing that kind of thing, right? And again, in the old world, like good luck writing or even getting the Python script to, or the LLM to write the Python script to then run that. Like, it's just not going to have that nuance.
Yeah.
But also, if you dump 30,000 search terms into a context window, that's not going to work either. So, like, we've built out the tech that kind of chunks and subdivides and subagents and rolls back up to the orchestrator. And that's proven to be really exciting, for example.
I think that's where the power of AI is. Do you remember like the VLOOKUPs back in the day? That's all I used to do for search
yes.
reports.
I
It's
still
like-
use VLOOKUps
Yeah.
from the same quick analysis. Yeah,
I think it might be my favorite Excel formula.
VLOOKUP or if is number search.
Yes.
To be able to
Yeah,
find
yeah.
a specific
And you've got
thing
your
that's
fancy like index match people, but they're
no.
wrong.
I'm from the old school of Excel where it was all VLOOKUP. Make it nice and easy.
Yes, yeah. Like, I used to have that for AO, like just Samsung, this, that, and the other, like split out a million times. And now, like you say, you can just put that into a chatbot. What I think is really interesting is like, if you really think about use cases for it, it can be just so open. You can say every morning, go and run me something like a search query analysis. And if there's an emerging trend, go and set up a new campaign about that. So say there's a new model that's been released, there's a new brand on the market, there's a new, like, do you remember Ninja air fryers, and they absolutely massively kicked off.
Yeah.
Go and set up a campaign for that if the search demand starts spiking or you see something in shopping or whatever. I think that level of analysis just supercharges the human rather than replacing the human. I think it's fundamentally what it is. It's for the human, not to replace them. No one wants them entire marketing teams just to be replaced with chatbots, but
I think it just doesn't work, or I haven't seen it work, right? I've yet to see an instance of like a fully autonomous AI system that can fully cut the human out. I don't think. I also obviously we would be out of business if that happened. So I have some interest, but also I just think fundamentally, like if you're investing whatever it is, like X $100,000 a month, there's going to be a human being who's needs to get a better return for that investment, and I think that's just going to be a constant. Like maybe you'll need less kind of PPC executives doing the work. That's probably true. But the idea that you'll just like plug in a landing page and a credit card and be like, all right, off you go.
Yeah.
I know that's what Zuck desperately wants.
Yeah.
and the others, obviously.
Yeah.
But there just always is going to be a profession that's going to seek to maximize that.
Yeah.
They'll find a way.
Yeah.
They'll find a way.
As PPCs, I think we want to get into the most amount of detail. As advertising platforms, they want to give us the least amount of detail possible to get away with to make us spend more, right?
Yeah.
But really interesting because that is fundamentally how ChatGPT is launched. You put in your business details, you put in your credit card, you put in a bit about you and your URL, and that's it. It literally just takes your money. You can't even optimize on conversions. It's purely clicks at the moment. But is that a space you're going to be involved in, do you reckon?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in discussions.
Nice. Cool. You heard it here first. Guys.
You did.
I had one question. You've mentioned around, becoming more AI first and, integrating that into everything that you do and still keeping humans at the core. What's the team structure like? I imagine you actually have, AI developers, or you've got people that are owners. And it'd be interesting to understand how you guys are now structured, because no doubt you've had to bring a load of new people into the team to be able to deliver and drive this, but understanding how that works with the rest of the team, speaking to Ben, Shakira, and other members of the team, everyone seems really clued up on this. So it feels that you as a collective are taking an AI first approach as an entirety, not just putting it on one or two people.
Totally. We've really. I mean, we're still a small team. We purposefully try to stay.
Yeah.
We try to do big things with a few number of people. And it's really cool, actually. We now have like an internal company agent that lives in our Slack. His name's Jacques, really lovely guy. He's actually named after our first customer, whose name was Jacques from South Africa. So we did it in the honor of naming him our company agent. And we were playing with OpenClaw, and then that turned out to be crazy sauce. And we've since moved to Hermes, and we have since kind of explored variants of that. But the premise is really cool, right? Which is that there's a central singular company agent that speaks to all Opteo team members, and kind of collects context from everyone. So everybody on our team kind of collaborates on giving this company agent context, and it remembers and it builds skills for himself. And it's also all out in the open. So we're big Slack users, and we're big on kind of async working and visibility. So we try to stay away from DMs, and it's actually the same with our company agent, where you're actually not allowed to DM. It doesn't work. You have to use them in a public channel. And so what's super cool is you'll see the way like Ben is prompting Jacques for something, and then anybody can kind of jump in that thread and be like, hey, Jacques, use this XYZ skill and kind of, help somebody out or vice versa. And so we really are in the era of like agents living alongside humans. Like we're kind of there. And we've experimented with some crazy stuff of like agent to agent. So like I also had like a personal kind of agent that has access to like my email and my calendar, which is obviously different to the company agent. And we set channels where the company agent is speaking to my agent. It starts to get a bit weird. And there's obviously like security concerns. And it's all pretty like cutting edge stuff, but at large, it started with like, okay, everybody gets a Claude account, an Anthropic account. And then it's like, okay, everybody gets Max, and then with overages. And now we're getting into like always on agents. And then, everybody's been quite early on, we're like, okay, stop what you're doing, go deep on this AI stuff. That was a thing that we did quite early on, because everybody's role has like transformed. Like it was the devs first, and they were like, hold up, we haven't written a line of code in how many months now? And then designers were like, wait a second. And all these roles are just kind of merging into like a product role. And then, I think it's really, really exciting for the customer-facing roles, actually. Like sales, customer success, customer support, account management. Like they are having the time of their lives because they just have access to like, just all the systems and all the back and forth, and like helping out a customer today is such a joy. Like this company agent, crazily enough, can take actions on our database as well.
Wow.
So I remember this one instance of Ben like working with a client, and there was a problem where the individual wasn't an admin and therefore couldn't do the thing. And Ben was like, can you make him an admin? I was like, done. And Ben was like, oh, wait, hold on. I need to check. This is a problem. And Ben was like, if I tell it to like nuke our database, like will it? And I was like, well, let's not test it. Let's not test it. But and there's obviously like human in the loop patterns and approval gates and all that stuff. But all this to answer your question, it's really transformed us inside out, like both in terms of the product and the internal processes.
It's absolutely fascinating as well, because I think it's rare. I think we're only getting agencies from my side of the world that are starting to integrate agents into, working, or should I say agencies of my size, about 140 people. We're not really seeing as much, agent usage as we are at, like, for example, yourself, which are tech first. Like, it sounds like you've tackled it the right way, and you're like, drop tools, focus on this, and then we can, not rebuild, but we can continue building on top of it. I think one of the only ones that I've seen of recent is Brain Labs, which obviously Daniel.
They're clever. They're a clever bunch.
I was going to say incredibly clever bunch. Might be one of your clients if you're saying it. My boy. But because we're trying to do it internally at the moment, and we've got a little guy called Merlin, which we call the Wizard.
Nice.
But it's getting mass adoption of it is becoming harder and harder as we're growing bigger. And I think need to take the approach you guys are taking. And down tools, everybody look at this AI and then start building on top of it. So yeah, thanks for the inspiration to how I can get people to adopt to ours as well.
Yeah, really interesting. I think one thing we talked about before is like how all these bots talk to one another as well. So they can check each other's work, or they can have different viewpoints. So you talked about your own one versus a team one. You could have one that's maybe trained on brand tone of voice, maybe one that's based on performance and all that kind of stuff. I think having different models talking is going to be like the superpower, right? They've all got their own roles. I am interested to know that, like, the first question that popped into my head when you said that is, has it ever, was it what Jackie's, is it called, the bot?
Jack.
Yeah. Has it ever caused or has it ever resolved arguments in your Slack channels with it being the public domain?
Not yet.
Okay.
There was some football banter and that got rowdy. With Jacques, but then no, I mean, there's some funny anecdotes of setting up Slack not quite right, where it was like using Axel's, like my partner and CTO. It was like using his Slack connection, and so somebody said like, "Hey, can you message this person?" And then it sent a message from him, and they were both ended up in these DMs being like, "What is this even about?" And so there's some funny hiccups along the way.
Yeah, that's what makes it joyous, right? As long as it's not causing like hundreds of millions of pounds to be lost, it's all learnings along the way.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
And I think like one of the really exciting other places that we've applied it, right, is as you were saying earlier, like, because we have this like anonymized visibility on the use of our AI harness for PPC, we actually have an agent that runs on a weekly basis and that like understands how people are using this and whether they're getting their end PPC outcome, and then actually presents kind of pull requests to our engineers to say, here's how I think we could improve. And like that's actually like that kind of self-improving loop is really, really powerful.
That's cool. So it's become reciprocal, that you've got, agent passing on other LM queries back into a full loop, and then that's going to a human.
Just AI on AI on AI. It ends at the human, like you say. Ends at the human,
but then that reloops around, and you've got a constant engine that's constantly evolving, learning, and becoming better for your end users and customers as well.
That's the idea.
Which I think it's good for everybody. It's a win-win for every person involved in that.
Yeah, definitely. So at the moment, obviously, AI seems to be the buzzword of the decade. Everyone's talking about AI. AI's actually been here for a long time. I think we were talking about this before.
But it's been called machine learning back in the early days.
And
it's been around since like the 80s.
Yeah, and then suddenly it's like, it's all AI now. But in 2026, like, what do you think is like the most overhyped AI thing in PPC at the moment, if such a thing exists?
Yeah, I think it's probably the overly generic use cases, like the Claudit we were talking about. Maybe like pair that with a good like comment X to get X on LinkedIn, and you've got a good overhyped thing.
The moment I post that on LinkedIn, just message me telling me to stop it. Close my LinkedIn account down.
I wrote a parody post about, comment your mum's great on LinkedIn, and I actually lost followers because of it. Yeah, 'cause some people were like a bit upset about it. I actually got a DM from somebody that uses that sort of post and was like, "It's not cool that you've posted that." And I was like, "Well, don't post like that.
Yeah.
It's silly."
Yeah.
I think it boils down to that. Like, it's just the threshold to get something plausible is so low. Like, it takes so little to get something that looks quite good.
Yeah.
But that's when the work actually starts. That's just that last, whatever you want to call it, is actually the entirety of the work, and the value in that first stint is actually quite low. Even though it's quite exciting, because in record time you can get something that looks like something. And so I'd say like that's where the overhypeness comes from, right? And so like it's skills that haven't been battle tested, or it's just like prompts that are kind of random, or super vague use cases where you're expecting magic that just isn't there.
Agreed.
So if we were going to go, like, it's obviously the most overhyped thing, but on the other side of it, what's one thing you reckon agencies should stop doing immediately with AI? Is it just using those like top level prompts, or do you have like another lens on this where like agencies need to stop using AI for X?
Yeah, I think it's the broad. I think it's the super broad questions, right? Like, I think it's asking it to know what you want when you don't
Yeah.
know what you want. That would be the pattern to try and stop.
Yeah.
It's just think a bit harder first.
I think we talked about it before with the human AI. It's like the first 20% needs to be the human to know what they want. 60% let the AI do its work, and then 20% check that what
Exactly.
it said is right.
Yeah, that last 20% is really important. By the way, just have a look.
Validation to
Yeah,
make sure
just
it's
like
not talking
look behind. And
Yeah, have a quick peek. I've heard of so many companies that have just blown through their Claude
Yeah.
credits because they've just let it do its thing, and then you realise they've got like a 6-figure bill or whatever it was. Just I don't know how true that is, but pretty mind blowing.
It's also like Claude lies, man.
Yeah.
So he's a liar.
Yeah,
compulsive.
Yeah, compulsive.
But didn't we speak about that on a previous episode about there was a company that used Claude to do a load of auditing internally, and it actually started getting to the point where it being that diluted and the context had gone far too long. But it just started making data up, and the company was making informed decisions, informed in quotation marks, on Claude work, which wasn't even real. And it took a good 6 months for them to find out that it wasn't real. And at that point, it was affecting things like financial lines and P&L, which is absolutely nuts to think that nobody had the QA within that process to check what was output.
Yeah,
It's super important. Yeah, the QA step has always been underrated, but it's like even more so today.
It's a bit boring, isn't it? But it's a much needed step to make sure that the work is correct.
100%.
Yeah. And I guess finally, what were you most excited about though? What's maybe underrated in AI in the world of PPC right now that you'd say go and give that a go?
Use Opteo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, give that a try. You might get some good stuff from it. Super underrated use cases, you mean?
Yeah, maybe what people should start doing that they've never done before, or
I think I honestly think an interesting shortcut is the to-do list one. Like maybe just start there. Like if you have a to-do list, just plug in, like get into it. Like that can be quite a good stepping stone.
Nice.
Because you've already done the thinking. You already know what you want. You already know what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I would just start with those use cases before you go down, before you know it, it's 3 a.m. and you're feverishly trying to do this thing that you cooked up in session. If you see what I mean.
Yeah, all fair off the top of your head.
Yeah.
That makes sense. No, really, really cool. And I think that pretty wraps up our time, doesn't it?
I think it does. It's been a lovely episode.
It has.
Nice to
Thank
have a
you very
guest on.
much
Thank you for
joining
joining
us.
us.
My pleasure.
It's been a while since we had a guest on, so
know,
it was
it's been lovely.
quite the treat. And how was your podcast experience?
It was very good.
Great.
Let's do it again.
Absolutely. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining us here today on the Prompted Podcast episode. Like I say, if you do want to find out a bit more about Opteo, guys, go and check them out. Go and speak to the guys, go and speak to Guillaume or Ben or Shakira. They're all on LinkedIn, so just drop them a DM or something like that. And yeah, we'll see you all in the next episode. Thanks for joining.
Cheers, guys.